Greetings, I'm Kyo, and I'm here to read a Kaketya Hitman Reborn fanfiction, As If in Prayer by Seito, retrieved in fanfiction.net. I hope you all enjoy. With his brows always furrowed and fists swung as if in prayer, that is Vongladesimo, Tuna let the words he had heard so often fall from his lips. Over the years, he had come to hear a wide variety of various similar praises spoken, well, about him. Nono was the first to say it to him, and the time they had traveled to the future, he had heard Uni say it as well. But where had the praise come from? When had they started using it to describe him? Tuna chewed on the end of his pen, ignoring momentarily the stacks of paperwork on his desk. It had been 4 years since he'd become Decimo, and he had yet to trace down the source of that particular quote. It didn't exactly bother him to be described like that. It was just odd. It painted a mental image that Tuna couldn't even begin to relate to himself. Why would someone ever use those words to describe him? It just simply didn't make sense. What part of his hands looks like they were in prayer? The starting pose of 0-point breakthrough? He supposed the brows furrowed part was an effect of hyperintuition. That at least made somewhat sense. Thud. Damn it, Tuna. A mafia boss does not slack off on his paperwork. Eee! Tuna let out a shriek. He nursed his head where his former tutor had hit him. More reborn, Tuna said, pouting. I'm not slacking off on my paperwork. He glared up at the taller form of Reborn. At the physical age of 26, Reborn had finally returned to his previous age before the Arcobaleno curse. Leon transformed back, scampering back to his usual spot on Reborn's hat. Damn it, Tuna, Reborn drawled, tugging at Tuna's hair. What's bothering you? It's nothing, Tuna said, swatting Reborn's hand away. He blushed slightly, embarrassed. Just something stupid I was wondering about. And that is, Reborn pressed, with his brows always furrowed and fists swung as if in prayer. That is Vongladesimo, Tuna repeated. It was fruitless to keep a secret from Reborn. His advisor would just continue to press until Tuna gave in. I don't know where that comes from. To his surprise, Reborn looked surprised at Tuna's words. Visibly surprised. Tuna couldn't ever recall the moment where he had caught Reborn so off guard with such a praise. He couldn't recall ever catching Reborn off guard. It was wiped away in an instant, and that confident smirk was back in place. Why does it matter? Reborn asked. Tuna frowned, his nose scrunching up in thought. It's not that I hate it or anything. It just doesn't sound like me. Tuna squeaked out. Reborn was quiet, sticking his hand into his pocket. Reborn? Tuna asked hesitantly. What was wrong with Reborn today? The original quote was, with his brows furrowed and fists swung in the semblance of a prayer. That is Sawada Tsunayoshi, Reborn said. What? Tuna asked, confused. Reborn scoffed. You were such a naive kid back then. Still are. Dying will mode and later the hyper-dying will mode forced your concentration. You acted cool and composed, but your hands spoke a different story. You swung them wildly, desperately, as if praying that each blow you had to throw was the last one to end the fight. You fought because you had to, not because you wanted to. So unwilling. Because even now, you don't like violence. Because your fists were never meant to hurt. The hitman leaned close to his former student until their faces were inches apart. Isn't that right, Tuna? Words failed Tuna as he stared back into Reborn's onyx black eyes. While it was true that Tuna hated violence, hated fighting, but always fought for his friends, for his family, it had never quite been put into words like that. Wait, did that mean Reborn was the one who started that description? That was that was mind-blowing. Tuna had always been aware of Reborn's faith in him. After all, the world's greatest hitman looked past the cowardly, timid 14-year-old boy and shaped him into a man. Reborn took everything about Tuna's life, turned it upside down, and made Tuna better for it. Tuna thrived under Reborn's tutelage, going so much farther than just because Reborn believed in him. Reborn's standards were set so impossibly high, but Tuna always tries to reach them, and sometimes shattered those expectations completely. But this was different. Tuna didn't have the words to explain it. Reborn pulled away, a self-satisfied smile on his face. Whatever he had seen in Tuna's eyes had been enough for him. His next words were downright fond. Don't let anyone ever change who you are, Tuna. Not even me. Tuna ducked his head, blushing a scarlet red. Who knew Reborn could be so poetic? Then again, Reborn had always known what exactly to say to Tuna to wipe away any doubt that Tuna may have been feeling. Lifting his head to meet Reborn's eyes, Tuna smiled. Thanks, Reborn, for everything, for believing in me, for the simple faith that what I do because I think it's the right thing